with a new life coaching reality. It has been quite a while since my last video, and this video is basically to explain what has been going on in my life. Personally, I hate doing like these videos where it's like, oh yeah, insanity was going on and here I am. I really wanted to put a stamp on exactly what has been going on, why I have been delayed in creating videos, and what to expect moving forward with this channel and also with my Marabelle Blue Unfiltered. If you are new here, welcome. This channel is dedicated to mental health awareness as well as different types of topics relating to mental health. So I could be discussing in relation to something that I had seen recently that I want to put together. So it will be a while till I put that together because I have other things ahead of that. Looking at the dancers of Madonna back in the early 90s and how that affected their mental well-being when the shows ended. So things like that, cult mentality, workplace, business, more of those things. And I will have Andrew coming back with more discussions on different mental topics. He is a therapist, he's a licensed therapist. So I like to have him on just to get better clarification when understanding the health of mental well-being. My Unfiltered channel is more dedicated to reality TV, and I will also be incorporating other things in that channel other than just your Real Housewives franchise or Bachelorette, which is other content that I'm working on now. So that basically gives you a rundown of what both of these channels mean. And if you are not new, welcome back. Thank you for sticking with me. Really, people who have been in my life involved personally know what is going on, and I'm going to share it with you the best that I can without getting into explicit details of the background, so to speak. More about me and just understanding why I'm discussing this. So let's begin. Earlier in January, I accepted a job from a place I really didn't want to work at. And I'm not going to disclose the details of the name of the place because obviously, when you state names of places, you leave yourself open to legalities that I am not in a position to put myself in. And I really want to focus in on the culture, the cult mentality, what to look out for when you're at a job. Like I said, I'm not going to disclose any detailed information so that you can sit there and figure it out. This is more about what to look out for when you're accepting job positions and how this can affect your mental well-being. Because if you're taking a job just to take a job just so that you can have money, a lot of the times people are not going to be happy in that position because it's not what you're looking for. It's not what you're looking to do. But in the meantime, are you looking for another job while you're at this job? And on top of that, some people don't do that. They think, well, it was just a bad day, and a bad day turns into another bad day. And before you know it, it's 3, it's 4, it's weeks, it's months. And you've made a commitment where you feel like you can't get out of it. And it's almost like an entrapment type of a feeling. The thing is, you're doing it to yourself. So I took this position in the hopes that it will just put me in a better place financially. Granted, my YouTube channel is not making any money because I don't have that kind of subscribership, which is the reason why I restarted both of my channels in the first place, because this is what I really want to do. I recently got my certificate, and the light, of course, I switched my room around, and that was also another project that I was working on. As you can see, the background is a little different, and I plan on moving these pictures over to the other side of the wall just to make it more eye appealing. And in the process of me going through all of this stuff, I had gotten my certificate. Yeah, yeah, I am now a certified life coach. So that for me is very, very exciting. It's definitely one of the stepping stones that I wanted to take in really building my life coaching business and everything else that I'm working on, which of course includes Surfbox. Like I did a whole new logo. I've just been doing a lot of different things. In the midst of having to work this job where the hours were very convenient, it got me home at a decent time, it was still daylight, things started to change rapidly within this position that at first I thought, oh, well, this is a good thing. These changes that are making, I welcome changes. I do a lot of changes on my website. I'm always doing changes because I want everything to look good and be better. But things were happening in this place where it started to take a toll on my own mental health, where a lot of the times I was sitting there wondering, what's going to become of me? I haven't been able to put content together, things that I have written down, and I'm like all gun ho to get home and do what I want to do. This exhaustion would overcome me to a point where I would just go in my bedroom and just watch TV. And in my mind, I was getting things done, but physically, I really felt like I couldn't get anything done. I did have most of the weekends to myself, so I would coordinate and say, yeah, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to record this. And then I would record and I wouldn't like the outcome. So I have been recording, I just haven't been putting it together. After viewing it, I'm like, I don't like how this came out. I just wasn't feeling good about anything that I was doing. And that didn't make me feel good at all. It really brought me to a point where I really felt depressed. And I don't like feeling depressed. I do not take any type of medication for it, but that's just me. I'm not a doctor, so I'm not telling people stop taking your medication. No, you follow your doctor's orders. End of story. For me, it was just a feeling of hopelessness. Like I couldn't understand a lot of the times I would be sitting here and I'd be watching other people on YouTube, but I wouldn't be doing anything for myself. I wanted to do Real Housewives of Atlanta. I wanted to do Real Housewives of New Jersey. I actually started doing The Bachelorette. In my mind, I'm like, whatever you can't video, just blog. Keep your Marabelle Blue Unfiltered website up to date. Write everything down because that's what you were doing. That's how everything started for you, through blogging. And that would just be half-ass. Then I would be writing a whole bunch of articles and nothing would be proofread. I wouldn't go back to it. I would forget that I did it. It was just horrible. As a person who is creative, I love the creative arts. I love graphic design. I got into this AI with one of my former coworkers who was teaching me so much. It even makes life better because when I'm doing blogging on marabelleblue.com, I can actually create images that I want to use for my blog. They're my images. I'm not having to look all over the web and wasting time with that. It's just kind of like you make an image and you're good to go. What happened in this position? It was explained to me what the job would entail. And maybe a month and a half later into the job, something had happened where a person was dismissed from their position. And then it laid on me that not only was I going to be doing my job, but I was also going to be doing their job. So it was the same work. The only thing was it was for two different places. And then after that, it changed again. The position changed again. I wasn't getting any kind of job description that said, this is what the plan is. This is what is going to happen. The pieces of information, it literally pieces. It was like emails after emails. Now it's going to be this. Now it's going to be that. It became chaotic. It comes to a point where I start looking at things from a business perspective. I went to college, I studied business management, and I studied business management because I wanted to be successful in the things that I was doing. If I'm a customer service oriented business, I want my customers to be happy. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. And when I started looking at it from that perspective, it made me suspicious about a lot of the things that was going on there and what the future entailed for this business. There's something to be said about a niche type business. You're catering to a customer that is looking for specific services. Not all customers will want this type of service. Sometimes there are services that they feel they can do on their own, save money, but then there could be a specific problem where they will need a professional to handle it. Sort of like you're going to a therapist. You want to see a professional, somebody who has been licensed by their state to practice therapy. And therefore, you will go to that person in the hopes that whatever issues that you're going through, they will be able to help you. I've been in workplaces where I have seen the writing on the wall of something's going down and it's not going to end well. So let me just find another job. I'm not going to be part of the downfall when it happens. And I was able to escape twice from two different places. Those places you have seen on television go down. And I'm not going to say the names of those places because like I said, it's a moot point. The point of this whole content is to better understand that if you're in a job where you get along with your coworkers and everything is super smooth in that area, but the job itself is taking a mental toll on you where things start to happen to you physically. Maybe you start experiencing stomach aches after you eat. It's just an unbearable pain, more migraines than usual, nightmares about the place where you can't really have a good night sleep. You keep waking up thinking, oh my God, I got to go back to that place. Those are not very good things. And this is what started to happen to me. I got along well with my coworkers. I mean, it was really like a family, so to speak. People would talk to me, they would tell me things that was going on with them, and I welcome that because I'm a life coach. It's my responsibility, and this is for me, this is not for everybody, but it's my responsibility to listen to people, listen to what's going on with them. You know what? If I don't have a solution, or if in the midst of talking, they just end up finding a solution, I still did my job. But when it came down to the actual job itself, I realized that it wasn't a functioning position. It was almost as if we were bogged down with these different types of jobs that we had to complete. We were limited to doing certain things. Like, for example, I guess I could say this. The manager that I was reporting to, she had this bright idea that I needed to make a minimum of 30 calls a day to the customers, okay? And it could be anything, any type of call. At the same time, they had constructed this chat room where we had to help the customer service people with requests, something that we were doing initially, but then they took it away from us saying, we're going to take this away from you because it will give you more of a bigger time frame to complete the things that you need to do. And that did not happen. It was almost as if we have an idea, we're going to do this. We have an idea, we're going to do this. And it just kept going on and on and on and on. Hey, this is a great idea. Hey, this is a fantastic idea. And none of the ideas were melding together to be like a functioning wheel. A wheel is round, it goes circular, right? But if it falls down to the side, what do you think happens? The wheel stops. It's laying flat. It's not going anywhere. And how is it going to get somewhere? Somebody has to pick it up and put it back on its track again. And in this case, it was almost as if a bunch of wheels were just falling down and there wasn't enough people to pick up the wheels and keep them moving flawlessly. It just became impossible. And in the midst of all of this going on, I would get home and it was almost as if I needed to unwind from that day. And by the time that I was not wound up anymore with the insanity, it was already 10 o'clock. There was no time for me to record. There was no time for me to put content together. There wasn't enough time, and it didn't make me feel good about everything in my life. So 2 weeks ago, actually more than 2 weeks ago, I had gotten a call from a recruiter telling me about this job. She told me the location. I feel like everything out here in Arizona is like far away. I'm used to like getting on the one train and going right into Manhattan. Just as long as I'm not going past 42nd Street, we're good. Out here, it's completely different. You have to get in a car, you have to drive distances to get to different places. And you know what? I'm sure that it's like that in every state. You're not going to find everything like New York City where you could just go down the block and go to the bodega and buy whatever it is that you need. It's not like that out here. And she tells me about this job, and I'm like, okay, yeah, here's my resume. And I'm like, whatever. It's really come to a point that out here specifically, it hasn't been easy for me to find a job. Now it could be this, it could be whatever. I'm not going to get into that because for me, it's not important. I've had people be, oh, does it make you want to come back to New York? No. I could be making more money out there, but everything there is expensive. I'm used to being out here. I'm used to the little bit of peace that I have when I'm here at home. I don't think that I'm going to find a place where it's going to house my bedroom and my office and everything else that I own without going into the millions. Okay? It just doesn't make any sense. So here we are back at the story. She tells me about this position. I'm like, okay. I don't hear from her for maybe like 2 weeks go by. And I was like, oh, well, whatever. You don't hear from somebody and you just think to yourself, well, maybe they changed their mind or they just weren't interested in you. And she calls me up a week ago and she's like, they're interested in having a phone interview with you. And I'm like, okay, set it up. Now, at this time, I already had interviewed with another company. I was pretty much on the fence with them. I was not feeling them at all. It was closer to home, but it was not something that I felt I was going to fit into their culture because you could just tell they were like I'll leave that word out. But anyway, it's Arizona, so you figure it out. And then there was another place that I had gone to, and it was a little farther from my house, but also there was something funny going on there that I just couldn't quite grasp. I have the phone interview and I felt like a person who was overzealous, that beseeching type of a call. Please get me out of here. You got to help me. You need to get me the hell out of here now. Now, I want to say this, right? Before I had gotten the call, like she set up the call and everything, something was going on with me and the manager that I was directly reporting to, where I was getting these phone calls from her where she would ask me these questions like, what are you doing? And it would be like video calls. And let me tell you something, they had the most outdated system I have ever seen in my life. I was like, where's the Microsoft Teams? Like, felt like I was in like 3.0 DOS. And if you're older and you know what DOS looks like, you're sitting there on the other end of your screen, hysterical laughing. That's how unsophisticated the software they had was. It was just awful. So I would get these calls from her. What are you doing? And, I would be sitting there doing my work, minding my business as if I'm processing money, whatever the case was. I was sitting there doing my work. I was never doing my own personal work on their time. It was almost as if everything that I was doing now was wrong. Well, what's the policy on this? What's the policy on that? And I'm saying to myself, you guys don't even know if you're coming or going. And then you're telling me about policy. Like, what's going on here? I already knew what was going on. If I'm getting these random calls about what am I doing? What's going on? Is everything okay? No, everything is not okay. Your job sucks. That's what I wanted to tell them. Your job sucks and it's driving me insane because you don't know what you're doing and you don't know what to do. You're acting like everything that you're spewing is supposed to be exciting and new, and it wasn't. It wasn't the kind of relationship where you feel like you meet somebody and you're like enamored and you want to spend a lot of time with them and grow with them. It didn't feel that way. So that week, the day before the phone call was set up, because the phone call was set up at the end of the week. The day before, my manager was out. He wasn't feeling well. She had just waltzed in, and I'm saying to myself, oh, well, here she is again. I guess I need a babysitter because I can't work on my own. I can't work independently. And she goes and she sits inside my manager's office. Now, the day goes by, we have like our regular weekly meeting. Basically, we're complaining about how everything is set up, and it's not conducive to our workload and getting things done in a timely manner. Now, I try to stay out of the whole politics of it. I really didn't want to insert myself and look like some kind of troublemaker. When you're a person in a workplace with common sense and you see the writing on the wall of things kind of caving out and they're doing things to try and keep it together, you're usually the one that gets out first because you're making everybody woke. So after our meeting, she calls me in and she says, oh, I want to talk to you. And I'm like, okay. Now my heart is beating fast because I'm like, oh shit, like what's going on? She tells me to close the door and I'm like, uh-oh. So she sits down, she presents me with this paper. And this paper tells me it's an action plan. It's like a improvement plan for my performance. And I'm saying to myself, okay, so basically you changed this position into something chaotic. And because I can't keep up with your chaos because you have me all over the place, I need improvement. No, that doesn't make any sense at all. And I know anybody who's listening to this or watching this, you're saying, yeah, I've been in that position where you're just changing shit around and you just expect me to keep up because you think that these changes are good and they're not. She gives me this paper. And of course, I'm playing it off because at this point, I don't care. I'm looking for another job. I'm not putting my 100 in it like I was doing in the beginning. And I read the paper over and then she tells me, this is the fun part. This is so important to me. Action and all, everything that I just told you. That's the way she said it. This is so important to me. I need you to read this paper and then sign it. So basically, the paper was if you don't straighten up in 2 weeks, you're either going to be disciplined or terminated. First off, the job is paying shit. Literally. It's a shit paycheck and it's only paying twice a month. That's when people do that, that's their way of lining their own pockets when you do shit like that because you can't afford to pay every other week. You got to do it twice a month. So after she gives me this paper, I sign it. I'm already at a point where I'm absolutely disgusted. I'm insulted. I am angry. I'm feeling an assortment of feeling. And when I got the call the next day, the phone interview, and I'm talking to this guy and he's describing the position, I'm like, well, this is a good position for me. It entails marketing and design, the possibility of growth. Now, granted, this is not a place that I want to stay at forever. I don't want to be employed forever by somebody because the goal is to continue to create content and to have my serve box and all of the products that I want to instill in this store. Because I have a lot of things. I have a lot of ideas. I have a lot of boxes that I'm in the process of putting together. But when you're in a position where you have to work in order for you to invest in your own business, this is what I'm doing. And when I had gotten this call, I felt really good about it. But at the same time, it was like I felt desperate because of what happened the day before with this whole 2 week straighten up your shit or you're not going to play with us anymore because you're not playing with us anyway. So the weekend goes by and I'm sitting here and I'm thinking about my life and I'm really, really feeling low about everything. I'm not feeling good about myself. I'm not feeling good about my life. And I started to feel like I was in a dark place. It really scared me because I can't recall when was the last time I really felt that hopeless. It just became like, what's the point anymore? You know where I'm going with this. I don't want to get into detail, but if you understand where I'm going with it, that's where I was feeling. So Monday comes along. I'm talking to one of the girls in their outdated chat feature. I told her how unhappy I am and that it's really coming to a point that I'm just going to leave. It came to that point, which like, I don't care if I don't have anything. I got to get the fuck out of this place. I can't be here anymore. It's either get out and get your mental health wellness in check, or hopefully something will come through. I get a call from the recruiter. She sounds happy. So I'm like, okay, this must be good news. And long and behold, I get the job. And she tells me, can I start Monday? Now, literally, we're talking about the week before this thing happens. Monday, I'm getting an offer. Can I start Monday? I know that you said you wanted to give your job 2 weeks. And at this point, I was like, you know what? I'm the person that don't make announcements about you leaving and how much you hate your job. And
still waiting on that heifer, Julio. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. You're cool. And fuck you, I'm out.
how classless that is and blah, blah, blah. A lot of young people were doing that. I'm like, you don't want to burn bridges. At this point right now, I burned that bridge. And the next day I gave them notice, and I literally, it was probably like an hour. Like 3 o'clock. I was leaving at 4. See you later. Bye. Peace. Now, my manager he knew everything that was going on. He had known for months that I was looking. So he was not surprised at anything that had occurred. He actually wished me well. And I think for me, he was probably one of the greatest managers there. My team superseded everybody in that company. Now, of course, this ties into how is this cultish? Where's the cult behavior? Where's the cult mentality? We hear a lot of these things. It's been going on for years in the workplace, drinking the Kool-Aid. Somebody moves up into a higher position and now they're like a different person. They're not as friendly. They're not as nice. They're nasty. They start going after people for no reason. They become super vindictive. And I've seen that. I've seen people do that for no reason other than they're just miserable. That's the only thing I can chalk it up to. People who rise into positions where they have no education, they have no authority in the sense that they don't belong in that position, and companies creating positions just to keep them there, that's also not a good thing. What you're doing is, well, we want to keep this employee, but they've already capped at the salary that they're at in the position. So let's create something where they can get paid more money. And then you're basically creating chaos, which is what happened in this situation. I have been vocal in the past if I was unhappy about something, expressed how it can possibly be corrected. And it just made me think of so many situations where people get hung up on something. For example, like I was watching a lot of everything that was going on with Allison Mack. She just got out of jail recently. She was very, very caught up in a sick situation that she herself instigated in some sort of way from this guy, Keith Rainier, who acted like he was just the best thing since sliced bread, gloating around how intelligent he was. And I don't know what's wrong with people, this whole narcissistic thing. I can get into that, but I'm not gonna, because I really just want to keep it in the sense of why people buy into nonsense, why people believe in nonsense. Where are you in your life that you say to yourself, well, I might as well do this because nothing else is working. So maybe I can get away with doing this or that. And I want to say this, if you really believe in something, let it be something that's healthy, something that's going to help you in the end. My situation was I couldn't do it anymore. Should I have given a 2-week notice? Sure. Would that make me the bigger person? Perhaps. That would have been 2 weeks that I could have had a conversation with that lady and she would have said, well, I don't understand why you're doing this. I gave you a chance to correct yourself. And it really wasn't about me correcting myself. It was about the company presenting a job description, something that was doable, something that made common sense. Because I wasn't the only one. And that was the other thing. There were other people also going through the same thing. But because, I don't know, jealousy, it could be a variety of things. Jealousy, insecurity. I don't like the way she looks. She dresses too nice. I don't know. People at work are very, very funny. And some of them just gun for you for whatever reason that is. They see you, they get into their feelings, and then now they don't like you for whatever situation is going on with them and for whatever feelings they're experiencing inside. We've all had that experience. How we go about it is what makes the difference in how we address the BS that goes on in work. I decided not to play nice. I did not feel that I was being treated correctly. I was being singled out, I was being targeted, and it was really, really taking a toll on me in a way that was not healthy. So I needed to make that drastic choice. I really believe that the universe provides when you're feeling uncertain about things. I really, really believe that. And in this case, this is what happened. So I start a new position on Monday, and I'm hoping that it is something that I can balance my work life and be able to do more videos here. So I'm going to end it because, like I said, there's a lot of things I want to discuss. I don't want to put it all in this video. I really want to keep it short and sweet. And I want to thank everybody for supporting me. All links will be down below in the description for my websites, for Unfiltered, for any social media. Please do follow me. Please support me. Please hit that subscribe button. And before we end, let's do a daily oracle. Let's see what message we have that will carry us through the week with the daily oracle. Let's think about question, a situation, an issue, and let's see what answer we're going to get. I love this book. I love this book so much. Everything is going to be just fine. Probably one of the best messages of hope anybody can have. So if you're feeling hopeless, if you're feeling like you don't know what's going to happen next, know that everything is going to be just fine. So that's it. Thank you so much for watching this video. And as always, remember, be good to yourself, be good to each other, and most importantly, take care of you. Bye, everybody.